everyone, Stephanie Dimon from the Dimon Homestead here. Today, this morning is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone from our home to yours. I know you're gonna get this after Thanksgiving, but I just wanted to share our morning with you and what I've got going on. I've got to still do some cooking to bring over to my mother-in-law Kim's today at 1. So this morning I'm gonna start our creamed corn, and I almost let this one slip because last year, I think it was, I was like devastated. Devastated because there was no deviled eggs, and I think there was just like a miscommunication on who was bringing them. So this morning, Buddy and I called his mom. We're like, who's bringing them? No one was making them, so I was like, I volunteer as tribute. I'm going to make the deviled eggs. So I have to make deviled eggs and creamed corn, and I've got about 3 hours to do it all. So let's start in the kitchen. Now, before we get started with cooking, I would really love to know if you guys could put it in the chat or drop it in comments. What are you most thankful for this Thanksgiving season? Let me know. I love to know like what people have going on in their lives. The internet can be a cruel place, but it can be such a cool place too, to connect with others, to find friendships, to bond, to a support group. And I would really love to know what you're most thankful for this year. This year, you know, something that I'm really thankful for that I didn't know that I would be is just staying put. Like, we, for the past couple years, have always been on the go during holiday seasons. And it's nice to know that, like, although traveling is nice and going out is nice and seeing family and friends are nice, but just being home is nice for me this year. Just to be here, be in my space, relax, watch some football with Buddy, put a fire on in the fireplace, get everything set up inside for the holidays. I don't know. It's just bringing me so much inner peace that I truly needed. So that's what I'm thankful for this year. And of course, I'm thankful for you guys. Like, this is our first Thanksgiving with you, and could not be more thankful for the love and the friendships that we have with you guys. So thank you. Without further ado, let's get into some creamed corn. And I'll show you how I do it because my mom does it differently, and I'm sure there's a ton of different ways to do it, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. And I think it's a pretty big hit at a lot of different potlucks and functions and Thanksgiving. So now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start off with a couple of these. They're frozen bags of corn. Just cut corn, sweet corn. You're gonna get the frozen bags. The bigger the better, depending on your size of party. So Buddy bought me 3 of these. I'm only gonna use 2, because 2 is gonna be a lot for this, plus the other ingredients. So I'm gonna put this one bag back. Got my crock pot here, and it's I'm turned it on high. So we got this going. This is my crock pot I use for food. I've got another crock pot I use for food. It's not for soap making. So, crock pot going right now. I'm gonna open up these 2 bags. Just gonna dump it in. Okay, there we go. 2 bags of creamed corn, or 2 bags of corn. Let me tell you the ounces on those bags. So just so you know, each bag was 32 ounces, or a 2-pound bag. All right, now that we have our corn added in here, I'm gonna add in a little bit of chicken broth. This is probably a 1.5 cups, 2 cups. All right, that was about 1 2/3 cups of chicken broth, which is fine. I'm gonna put this in here. And if you're wondering, that was my chicken broth from my roosters. Really good chicken broth. All right, so we got that in here. Now I'm gonna take a block of cream cheese. And you can just throw the whole block in there by itself. But I'm gonna cut it up into different cubes so it kind of disperses evenly over all of the corn. Nothing fancy. Just gonna cut it and just plop it. Now a whole stick of butter. Just put it right on top and it'll melt. And you can adjust this to your own liking. Like if you want it creamier, add in a half a block or even a full block more of cream cheese. Later on, I'm not gonna add it right now, I'm gonna add it later, but we're gonna add in some half and half or even some whole whipping cream, make it thicker, creamier. We're gonna add in some of that, some dairy products after. But before we do any of that later, we're gonna finish up this right here before we put a lid on it, and we're gonna add in a little bit of salt and pepper, and we're gonna add in some sugar. I'm just adding in about a half a cup of sugar. And that's it. I'm gonna cover this and let this cook on high for about 2 hours. I'm gonna uncover it, stir it really good, mix it together, see what we're working with. And then we've got 3 hours to cook this if we need to, but towards the end, I'm going to use my immersion blender. We're gonna blend it all up pretty good so it's a creamed corn consistency. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can spoon some of this into your food processor or just a stand-up blender. You just wanna make sure that some of it is blended. You can leave some of it whole corn too, like a mixture. But I'm just gonna immersion blend it all up, and some of it may stay whole kernels too in that. That's fine too. But I'm gonna put a lid on this so it can get to cooking down. All right, so off camera, I added salt and pepper to my cream corn. I just did a few cranks from my salt and pepper shaker in the crock pot. So now I've got on the stove 18 eggs, and I added them to cool water. I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt in the water. I'm gonna turn it on high, and I'm gonna let these boil for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'm gonna take them directly off the heat, and I'm gonna put them into a bowl of ice water. So physics will tell you that anything that is hot will expand, and anything that is cold will shrink, right? So what we want to happen is we want the shell and the lining on the inside of the egg to shrink inside, and so it helps me peel the egg away from the shell easier when it goes from one hot to one cold. If you let this sit in here for a while and it come down to room temperature, they tend to not peel as easy for me. So that's kind of what I do to help them peel a little bit easier so you have pretty deviled eggs. We're gonna let this boil for about 20 minutes and then come back and finish this. I almost panicked because I went to the refrigerator to get the mayonnaise out to get everything set up for making deviled eggs, because you need to mix the hard yolks with mayonnaise in order to make a creamy center. We don't have any mayonnaise, we're out. But then I remembered I know how to make mayonnaise. So I'm gonna be making my own mayonnaise for these deviled eggs today, and I'll take you along with me to do that as well. Okay, got the eggs boiling behind me. I'm gonna start my mayonnaise. So, first things first, you're gonna need an egg. And then crack your egg, and it's gonna fall into your mason jar. I'm using a wide mouth mason jar. You can use a big glass, like one of these, but bigger. Anything that you can blend it all in and it's not gonna come out. Now, I normally would like to use just all the same oil for this, but I don't have enough of all of one oil. I normally like to use avocado oil. It's a very mild tasting oil. You're gonna need 1 cup of this oil. So I'm just gonna top it off with some extra virgin olive oil on top of whatever I don't have of this. That was a 1/3 cup avocado oil, and I'm gonna finish it to add it to a full cup with extra virgin olive oil. This is what we're working with, guys. Got our egg on the bottom and our oil on top. Now we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of mustard. You could do spicy mustard. I'm gonna use Grey Poupon. It's a very mild, smooth mustard. So 1 tablespoon going in. And then you're gonna need either 1 tablespoon white vinegar or lemon juice. I have vinegar today, so I'm gonna use vinegar. Now, about a ½ teaspoon of salt. And that's it, really quick, and I'm gonna blend this up and I'll show you how this becomes mayonnaise. Was that in like no time flat? If you're ever without mayonnaise, look how thick that is. It's all my blender. Don't worry. Like, you probably have all of the ingredients at home to make your own. So simple, and personally, I think it tastes a lot better than your store-bought mayonnaise. If you're worried about, got that tang. If you're worried about raw eggs, okay, to each their own, but most store-bought eggs are pasteurized, sprayed for all the things, like, so if you're worried about raw egg, don't make it, but if you're cool with it, this is the best tasting mayonnaise you will ever have. Yeah, so make some homemade bread, some homemade mayonnaise, make some deviled eggs, some homemade mayonnaise, you'll be set. So we've got our mayonnaise. I'm gonna set this aside, and we'll use it with our deviled eggs here in a little bit when these are finished cooking. Okay, I've taken my eggs off of the stove. I'm gonna drain off some of this hot water. I've got a whole bowl of ice right here. Just gonna dump this ice into this pot where the eggs are. I'm gonna cool these down really fast. All right, while these are cooling off, let's go over some of the other things we're gonna need. I have here a deviled egg dish. This dish has these little ovals in it, and it's meant to lay the eggs down flat where you can see the tops of the deviled eggs. I bring this to different potlucks or parties. It's a really nice glass dish. Also, for any extras that you might want to replace on your glass dish, I have this this other container. It has a lid on it, so you can clasp the little closey things, the little tabs on the side to lock it in place, so that you can put this in the refrigerator, stack stuff on top of it, and they won't get smashed, and they stay safe, and it's great for transport. And then you can just add these back onto your glass plate as that is becoming empty. You can replace them. So those are 2 things I'm gonna use today as far as the plates go, the plating goes. Now, for the mayonnaise mixture that's going to go into my egg yolks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the eggs in half, separate the egg yolks. Then with the egg yolks, we're going to add in our mayonnaise and some other ingredients. Those ingredients are garlic powder, onion powder, some pepper, mayonnaise, and some dill relish. Then on top, we're gonna sprinkle some smoked paprika. So that's what we're gonna have as far as our spices go and our other ingredients that go inside the yolk mixture. So let's get started on peeling our eggs. Thanks, babe. And look, my first egg peeled beautifully. Still a little warm, but the shell came right off. Check it out. Aren't they pretty? I'm telling you, it works. So the eggshells I'm gonna save and dry out and give them back to my chickens for extra calcium. They're gonna really like that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and half these eggs, cut them in half, and take the yolks out and put them in a separate bowl. I'm actually gonna try something a little different this year. Instead of getting out my food processor, I'm just gonna put them in my Ninja blender, and we'll blend them up that way. All right. Just cut them in half. And then I just kind of use my thumb, or pull them back a little bit, use my thumb, and pop the yolk out, and then just put it in your little container. I'm gonna put it right here in this little blender. You're outside, right?
Yeah, but it was sprinkling.
Mm-hmm.
You have pretty hair.
Okay, I've added the yolks to my Ninja blender. So now I'm going to start adding the other ingredients. I've got my mayonnaise. I'm gonna start adding this to here. I'm not gonna add it all at once. I'm gonna blend it and see how much I need, and then I'll add more as I need it. But for now, I'm gonna add maybe like, I don't know, 3/4 cup mayonnaise. I'm gonna sprinkle in some garlic powder. Some onion powder. A little bit of pepper. I'm gonna put some paprika in with the yolk mixture and then some on top. And some dill relish, like a heaping tablespoon. Okay, excuse the background noise. Alora put on the Macy's Day Parade, so she's watching that. But I have blended this really smooth, and I scraped down the sides, and then I blended it again, and so that's what it looks like. And I'm going to pipe this. You can take a spoon and just spoon it into each little half egg, but I'm gonna pipe it using a piping bag, and I do have a little tip down at the bottom here so it comes out and nice and easy. And if you don't have a piping bag, you can just use a Ziploc baggie and cut the tip of the corner off and use it easily to squeeze and control your yolk that goes into each egg. So that's what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to take this mixture out of here, put it in my piping bag, and then we're gonna pipe it into all of the eggs. All right, so we have successfully piped all the egg yolk onto the top. It's a messy job, not gonna lie, it's pretty messy, but it's worth it, they're pretty. So we've got both trays full and piped. Now I'm just gonna take my little paprika, and on the smaller hole side, I'm just gonna tap it gently and sprinkle that paprika over the tops of the eggs. You getting it, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay. These are done. Aren't they pretty? Now I have someone lingering. Just appeared. Who could it be?
Look, you never know if they're poison, right? So every dad has to check
All right, check it, Dad.
for the family.
Yes, it's for a good cause. Good?
No, they're poison. They're poison. I gotta get rid of these.
Of course you do. Okay, well, these are done. I'm going to be working now on stirring the cream corn and getting that all finished up. I'll show you the end product there, and we'll follow up with you in a little bit. We're getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving, and I'm getting hungry. All right, so we've got about a little less than an hour before lunchtime, so I am going to give this another stir. Everything's melted pretty much together now. It's very soupy, very soupy. I'm going to use the immersion blender now inside the corn to start to make it creamy. I have some half and half here that I'm going to start to add into it slowly until I get the consistency that I want. Okay, so I added about a half a cup of half and half, and now I have my first taste tester. Buddy. Okay, Buddy, taste it and tell me if I need to add anything, because I haven't tasted it at all.
Yep. There's some on beer.
Let me see. Does it need more sugar?
I mean,
Not sweet enough?
it could be a little bit sweeter. You know, I'm a big fan of the less sweet, but
I'm gonna add more sugar.
I know everyone else wants to have that little sweetness. So.
Yeah. It's perfect now. It tastes like sweet corn, but I want it a little bit sweeter. But I think as far as the creaminess goes and the texture and everything, we're spot on. So I'm gonna add probably another quarter cup of sugar. I'm gonna let this cook down for another about 40 minutes or so. Then we're gonna head over to Thanksgiving. Just want to give you a close-up view of the consistency I went for. Added a little bit more sugar, so it's a little bit on the sweeter side now. And we're ready to go. I'm just gonna let this sit. It may thicken up just a little bit, which is fine. If it's too thick, just continue to add either some chicken broth or half and half. I prefer adding more half and half if it's too thick. This is cream corn. This is our cream corn, and it's ready to go. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me in the kitchen today. I love cooking, I love baking, I love providing food for all the family. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm glad I got to share my version of cream corn with you and deviled eggs. And I'm sure I'll see you on videos over at Thanksgiving today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you on the next one. And please have a very safe and happy holiday season this year. Bye guys.